So it was the Drammeh Commission that identified those tractors, and the government set up the Drammeh Commission as an independent body to fulfill a mandate. So my question is why the government would go into that mandate, whether through a confirmation or an investigation. Why would the government then duplicate efforts and not go to the Drammeh Commission?
I don't think that issue did not arise at the time. The issue of duplication of efforts or investigating the Drammeh Commission. That was not the case. It's like somebody coming to the president to make a plea, which happens from time to time. Ministers will come, they will consult with the president, and they will put certain things to him. So our role as gatekeepers is to ensure whatever information is going to the president is sift through with a fine-tooth comb, and that whatever we are going to tell him is the truth, is the facts. So this is what has happened. It has nothing to do with, at the time, the functions of the Drammeh Commission. So here, Minister of Agriculture making a passionate plea to the president. And of course, naturally, if you talk about the farmers or the farming community, anybody would tend to gravitate towards that request. So that was what has been driving this whole saga of the tractors. Not for the use of the Minister of Agriculture, but for the original intent of the usage of the tractors to go back to that. Let us give it back to the farming communities. That was what was driving the Minister of Agriculture at the time.
Yes, but what I am bringing your attention to is the fact that here are a set of tractors that you have bestowed upon an institution to do with it as per their mandate. Technical team, should I continue? Okay, thank you. You can see that the lights have visibly gone off here, so I'm just being doubly sure. Yes. So what I'm alluding to is that here is cabinet bestowing upon an institution the powers to do with it as they may, certain assets, and report back to the government.
Right.
Yes. And here is the same government looking into those same assets. Don't you think that would be a duplication?
You know, as the office of the president is the highest decision-making body. So the president is also in locus standi for the general good of the Gambia. So if somebody comes to him and makes a personal appeal, then the matter will be also looked into. But like I said, that meeting did not immediately result into office of the president dealing with the commission on the tractors. No. Then all the actions we would have taken, and if at all there was a cabinet conclusion on this, and the Minister of Justice was asked to act on it, it wouldn't have come through us again. So we have to look at the chain of events that is leading to the request for the sale of the tractors to be halted. If the Minister of Justice got the cabinet conclusion and acted on it at the time, I'm sure this thing wouldn't have arisen. Or perhaps it was a short space of time and the Minister of Agriculture made that personal plea, and that could have triggered subsequently the next chain of events. But that particular day in question was to verify the veracity of the fact that the tractors were being cannibalized, one. Two, the tractors were missing. Those were the two main issues that we discussed whilst I was with him and then with the president. So we had to come back to the president to say, look, unfortunately, what was being claimed is not the case. This is a true picture of the tractor situation.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on. I wish to know which event came first. Was it that faithful meeting or the cabinet, the AOB in cabinet?
That I cannot recall. That I cannot recall. And I'm not even sure when this matter was raised in cabinet, which month it was. If you could assist me with that.
I was just about to ask you to assist me with that. And you've asked me, but we would send you a copy once we are in receipt. We
Please,
have
yes.
asked cabinet to
Yes. Because I know that was
submit.
a period in which I was not very active in cabinet
Okay.
due to some health reasons. So things could have been discussed whilst I was in there, or things could have been discussed whilst I was there. Unless, like I said, if we see the cabinet conclusions or the minutes of the cabinet, we will be able to affirm some of the
Okay.
issues that you have raised. Yes.
All right. So back to you aiding us consolidate evidence from two witnesses that are not connecting. And you have helped in one respect, but I wish to clear my doubt as to one issue. Did you ever have a meeting with the Minister of Justice and the President?
No, no,
Never.
no.
Okay, so
No.
Your subordinate at the time, Mr. Ibrahim Asise, had mentioned to this committee that there was a meeting between yourself, the Minister of Justice, and the President. And after that meeting, immediately after that meeting, is when you both proceeded to contact Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Quran. Now, proceed.
I was just going to say, some of these events have taken some time now. But if there was any meeting with the Minister of Justice, maybe he was the one who was present in that meeting. But most definitely, this day in question, I was with the UNDP resident rep. There was no tripartite meeting with the Minister of Justice. Otherwise, the Minister of Justice himself would have taken the action, not us.
Okay.
You follow my drift. If I was in a meeting,
I understand.
yes,
And
between
that
three
was
of us,
put
there
to.
wouldn't have been any need for the president to send somebody to me to hold the tractor issues. No. So
Yes.
that
And when that
maybe he's missing something.
fair enough. That your testimony is that there was no such meeting.
No, there was no such meeting. No.
However, you have alluded to a tripartite meeting, this time with the Minister of Agriculture, not the Minister of Justice.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay. Just to clarify whether that meeting and your meeting with the UN rep were the same day?
No, it wasn't the same day.
Okay.
No.
So I would then put to you what your subordinate at the time told this committee. It is his evidence that there was a meeting, a tripartite meeting. He did say the Minister of Justice. However, you have clarified that perhaps it could be the Minister of Agriculture. And he did say that after that meeting, you summoned him to your office. And whilst in your office, you dialed Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang's number. The phone rang and it rang out. There was no answer. You rang again and you got him. He was at the bank, as he told you. He did not know who he was talking to, and he decided to not heed to the instructions of whoever he was speaking to. But what is clear is that it was you who summoned him. What is clear from his testimony, that is, it was you who summoned Mr. Sise to your office, and that happened right after your meeting with the president and a third party. It was you who dialed Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang's number through your phone and handed it to Mr. Sise. And it was you who instructed Mr. Sise to meet him at the MSA grounds at Kotu. What would you say to that?
No, that is not correct. Like I said, the Secretary of Cabinet came to my office whilst I was in a meeting with the UNDP resident rep and transmitted this message to me that this is what the president wants us to do. Then I asked him to continue with that particular action, that activity. Go in, call this gentleman, transmit the message. So that is the sequence of events. I wouldn't have a meeting with the president and the minister of justice, and I go down to my office to call him. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Why not?
Because the minister of justice would have been given the instruction. If this was a meeting between the three of us, two things could happen. We would agree, three of us, then we will follow it up with a letter to the Minister of Justice for him to take action as per the meeting, that meeting quoting, whatever administratively we need to quote on that letter. So that's why that particular claim cannot hold. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, let me play the devil's advocate here and say, what if he made a mistake to say it was the Minister of Justice rather than the Minister of Agriculture? So let's substitute the Minister of Justice for the Minister of Agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
His claim was that after your meeting with the President and the Minister of Agriculture, you summoned him, and as I explained, that's what happened.
That cannot be also true. Why? Because already we have 5 permanent secretaries at the Ministry at the Office of the President. I have created for each permanent secretary a portfolio of ministries to handle. So if that was the case, I would have instructed the permanent secretary, now I cannot recall who it was, or for that particular portfolio to take their required action. That is not the case. The minister, my meeting with the Minister of Justice, of Agriculture and the President had no bearing whatsoever to the subsequent interference, if you will, or halting of the tractor sales. None, they are not connected at all.
You're meeting with the Minister of Agriculture. It's your evidence that you're meeting with the Minister of Agriculture and the President have no nexus with the interference.
No nexus whatsoever, none.
So what warranted the interference then?
Like I said, what transpired before the antecedent to Ibrahim Assise coming to my office, I don't know. But what I can affirm and confirm is that he came to my office and relayed this message, this urgent message. Then because he was there, I said, look, just continue with this line of action, because he is the one who is the messenger, who brought in the message. And sometimes he does act, like some of those permanent secretaries to take action. So this is the true sequence of events. If there was a meeting, like I said, with the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Justice would have been there, and there wouldn't have been any need whatsoever to halt the tractor sales. No. He would have
Yes, I have understood your argument on that.
Yeah.
What I wish to now hear you react to is if your subordinate had in fact meant to say the Minister of Agriculture.
No, it's not possible. Like I said, it's not possible. That very day, we had a meeting with the president. I went back to him to relay my findings after the briefings of the controller of vehicles. And that was the end of that discussion with the president. I left him with that information, that this is the true situation of things. And that was the end of it. But not to leave the president's office and call him to my office to instruct him. It does not make any sense. None whatsoever.
Yes, perhaps it might not make sense to you. The committee is trying to understand why it would not make sense to you. And if you could enlighten us.
No. It's a chain of things. A meeting was held with the Minister of Agriculture. He came to see the president and said certain things to him, right?
Yes.
To confirm what he has relayed, whether it is true or not, we had to go back and get information. So the vehicle, the transport, I don't know, control of vehicles, I called him and he went and brought all the information that was required, alluding to tractor missing, cannibalization, etc., etc. And that was it. So I went back to the president and just gave him a briefing on that particular situation. And that was it. It had no connection with the subsequent halting of the tractor sales. None.
And you, as you've stated, that was before the
Yeah, that was
cabinet
before. Yeah, that was before.
discussions.
That was before the halting of the tractor sales. Yes.
Okay, now what we need to reconcile, you've given me a clear picture of the events as per your recollection. What I just need to reconcile is your testimony vis-a-vis your subordinate's testimony. They're conflicting directly. He mentions that it was you who rather got the instructions from the president, and you're saying it's him who got the instructions from the president. Please assist this committee in ascertaining the truth.
Yes, like I said, there was not at any given time that I called the Secretary of Cabinet into my office to give him an instruction to go and halt a tractor sale. That never happened. Never. All he did, he came to me, he gave me the information, and then I said, look, act on this information. Because I was actually busy in a meeting. So he continued with that. Subsequently, he came back to me to say he was not able to reach this guy. I said, no, let's not waste time. This is urgent. Go there physically to impress upon him that he need to stop the sale of the tractors. So this was our mind at that particular time. But not to say that I had a meeting with the president, came back to call him for what? That's senseless.
Yes, perhaps to you, and we are trying to understand why it is senseless.
Councillor, sir.
Yes.
You know, I don't think there is need for me to say Ibrahim did Ibrahim. No. Like I said, if I go to the president for anything whatsoever, if I come back to my office, I will always call the permanent secretary that I have assigned certain portfolios to and give instructions directly to that particular person. In this case, he brought me information, and based on the urgency, I said, look, continue with the action, deal with these guys, or this particular gentleman, the executive secretary or so. Then action was done. Subsequently, I'm not too sure now whether we were in fact able to halt the tractor sales or not, but that action was taken. I recall telling him, let's not waste time. Go there yourself. Talk to him. Go there yourself directly and ensure that these sales of tractors is stopped. So that's my own testimony.
Yes, I'm listening to your testimony, and I'm trying to also understand, knowing the way government works. You were in a meeting with a very high dignitary.
Yes.
Somebody very senior.
Right.
I'm trying to see whether, I'm trying to understand how you would be interrupted twice in such a high protocol meeting.
Well, remember you are talking about the Secretary of Cabinet, who can have access to me. So this is not a general clerk also, it's the Secretary of Cabinet.
Yes, and while he can have access to you,
of course he can.
You were not alone, were you?
I was not
According
alone.
to you.
He came, I wasn't alone. He came to me, he spoke with me. I had to, if you want those details, to excuse, to ask excuse from my guest, and turned to him because of the urgency. Are you familiar with the Eisenhower quadrant in management?
Not quite, but please enlighten me.
Yeah. When anything that comes from whether it's a message or a missive coming from the desk of the president, there are two things to it: urgent, important. So it means you have to take immediate action. Now, if I receive that message from him, I will not turn to say, okay, let me call one of the permanent secretaries to the action. I said, Ibrahim, you just continue based on the urgency and the importance of this message you are giving me. Let's hold the tractor sales. So he was given that assignment. He was given that instruction to continue with that.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, that is the chain of things that have happened.
Okay. I wish to further put it on a microscope again and see how practically it would work.
Right.
He comes in, he informs you that there's something urgent, we need to halt the tractor sales. Is that how it went? Or did he give you a rationale?
No. He didn't. No, he didn't give me a rationale. He came to me, he explained that
What did he explain?
That we need to hold the tractor sales is urgent. Yeah? That what the urgency, and knowing fully well that this is coming from the office of the president himself, that is very urgent and important. So take immediate action. Don't go trying to look for an action officer to deal with that situation. You just act on it. That was the instruction I gave him, and he acted on that instruction.
So are you saying that the decision to halt the tractor sales was a decision that was made by His Excellency the President?
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
You're saying, yes, you had earlier mentioned that it is your responsibility to advise the President.
Right.
Was that advice forthcoming?
At that juncture, no.
Okay.
No.
The
At that
evidence we
juncture,
have,
all our minds was focused on, let's stop this thing before it goes any further. That was our mindset at that particular time. That was the state of our mind. Let's ensure this thing to stop. We didn't consider any other thing apart from halting the tractors.
I agree. You didn't even consider the law.
No, we did not. I will agree with that. No.
You also
did not consider
the
law. We did not consider the independence of the commission, etc. relative to the office. No, we didn't. That was not the consideration. It was just the
consideration was that the order came from number one,
and then we need to act on it swiftly. So what you will do, you can act on these things and go back. When the situation is a little bit, the waters are calmer, then you can discuss issues, because that has happened several times. Sometimes we'll take certain actions, then you will go back to say, based on X, Y, and Z, we cannot continue with this particular action. It has happened several times. Because when these things come, sometimes you might not have the privilege of advising on the spur of the moment. But even for you to make any advice, you have to go back and get the relevant data. It has to be evidence-based. You collect that and go back to, hey, well, we cannot do this particular action because of X, Y, and Z. And sometimes he would agree to that.
Okay. I appreciate your explanation. It sounds very good. But when I put it under a microscope, I do not wish to take that that submission that you would act and then advise later. You're saying that you would cause an infraction, you would break the law, and then advise yourselves later. That is what you're telling this committee.
In this, I just want to focus it on this particular incident.
On this particular issue, yes.
On this particular issue, yes. Message has come down to me from the president is urgent.
Yes.
I want you to underline that word urgent. Yes. It is urgent. Huh?
It is, yes.
So the second word is important.
Yes.
Yeah. So based on these two premises, urgent and important, we had to act without taking any other thing into consideration at that material time. That was not the case. It was subsequently.
Okay.
It was subsequently.
All right.
That my attention was drawn by the Minister of Justice to say that, hey, guys, you have acted out of line. To which I agree. I consider, I say, Minister, you are right. We will rewrite this letter and reroute it via you to take action.
Okay,
But
let
when
me just
the
make
action
2
came,
points.
we did not think of any other thing. No.
Let me make 2 points. The first point is that from the minister at the time's testimony to this committee, he had actually advised before that fateful day that the committee is the commission is an independent commission and their work is not to be interfered with. That is the minister's testimony to this committee. Now, I wish to go back to your 2 classifications, urgent and important.
Right.
And from your testimony, it seems like that is what is sacrosanct to you, urgent and important.
Right.
And I am contending, and I'm saying that for me, rather, 2 things would be important to me in that junction, which would be your duty to the president and to the Gambian people to advise the president, right? And the second thing would be the law, the constitution that puts you and the president where you were. That was an infraction of the constitution deciding to interfere with the commission's work. Would you agree with me?
Now, when you use words like infraction,
yes,
it could be an infraction, strictly talking about the law. But at that material moment, that was not our consideration, as I said.
Was there a war?
At that particular moment.
Yes. Was there a war in the Gambia? Was there any violence?
How do you want me to interpret that your statement?
No, I just wish to know how the constitution of the country
no.
Can never be a consideration.
No, no. You know, when you are taking decision sometimes in a particular context, because a decision would be influenced by the context within which you find yourself in. At that material time, like I said, we did not think in terms of the constitution. We did not think in terms of the law. We didn't think in terms of the independence of the commission. No. The overriding factor.
But I will just pause you there. I will just pause you there that it is not an overriding factor. Important and urgent, because cabinet decides that it's important and urgent, cannot be an overriding factor for the constitution. No. You see, Mr. Drammeh, even when
I did not say that it was an overriding factor for the constitution. Let's not conflate the two. I am saying when the message came down to us, to me specifically, from Ibrahim Assise, I did not consider any other thing, any other variable, because I didn't even have the time to do that. Like I said, I was in this meeting. I say, please continue with this directive, which he did. Subsequently, the Minister of Justice called me to say, you guys have acted out of order. And I agree. Say, sorry, we would do it this way. We will write to you so that you can transmit that particular message. But
you see, the problem
with that, there was no war. We were in the time of peace, but there was war in quotes within my office, if you want to put it that way.
Okay. You see, what I'm trying to understand here is that cabinet understood that the commission is independent.
No doubt.
But yet, cabinet still decided that the sales needed to be stopped. And, you know, I would also not accept an answer to say that the directive came from the president, because decisions are made by cabinet, and it's a collective decision.
Council, yes. I don't want to, like I said, it's up to you. I'm trying to relay what had
transpired. I understand.
You follow? Sometimes ministers do come to the president and will make a specific request. If we, like myself, as the Secretary General, if I am okay with it from the very beginning, I usually advise otherwise. Let's gather information. Let's do this, let's do that. Then I'll come back to you. It has happened several times. But in this particular instance, that was not the case. I was not there, and uppermost in my mind was not the constitution, neither the law at that particular juncture. All we saw was, let's halt this, because I'm already privy to for the previous meeting, where the Minister of Agriculture was making a passionate plea that the tractors should be used for the farmers. So this is the question of comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfortable. That was just the basic principle that will be adopted, if you like, a prioritarian principle. To say, look, the farming community needed this thing more than the Drammeh Commission's objective of recovering monies from the sale of the assets of the former president. That was not what we were thinking about at the time. Say, look, this is for the farmers. Let's put a stop to it, and then we can go back to what those tractors were originally meant for. That was what was driving us. Nothing else. We had no other motivation whatsoever.
And you understand that that motivation, in essence, was cabinet using its muscle to interfere into the work of the commission?
I would not put it that way. The commission is a
How would you put it?
I'll put it this way. The commission, their job is very noble. What they were trying to do was very good. No question about it. However, in the face of overwhelming request for those tractors to go back to the farming communities of the Gambia, where 80% of foreign exchange is earned, that will trump, in my view, over the commission's objective, because that other objective is for the greater good. We are not questioning the objective of the commission. It's good. But in terms of the hierarchy of good, the public good will always trump, if I want to put it that way, over a commission's objective.
Who set up the commission?
The government and the people.
The same government that interfered into the commission set up the commission.
Yes.
The same government that determined that it is of public good for there to be a commission,
yes,
for us to know what transpired in the past, for us to leave what happened in the past behind. It's the same government that decided that this is how we want you to do things. You see,
for good purpose. For good purpose, Mr. Councillor. For good purpose.
Would you say that for good purpose, it's good to kill people?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. We can go back to the ethical issues on justice.
Why not we go back? We go to the ethical issues of
I know because that's the direction you want to take.
Well, we're having a conversation here.
I'm just trying to explain to you. Sometimes,
yes,
when people who advocate for say capital punishment, for example,
yes,
from the eyes of some Islamic clerics,
yes,
they would argue that is a mercy to society and a mercy to the guy who has been executed. Why? Because killing him would remove that threat to society. And if this thing is an impulse from this individual, it will also be a mercy to prevent him from further killing.
Yeah.
So some would argue in that way. So in this case, just
interestingly,
without going into all the technicalities, in these instances, people could argue. If you advocate for, say, the law is no capital punishment, that's what it would be. For those people, they have the argument against human rights and what have you. Case specifically on the tractors, it was public value more than anything that has driven the decision to halt the sale of the tractors. And you
Okay,
just go
can
back to
I?
the prioritarian principle.
That's fine.
Comfort the
It
afflicted
seems
and afflict the comfortable. That's what it is. Nothing else.
I'm fascinated and I've learned a lot. We cannot equate any principle that you bring to practice. This
Yes.
is you're faced with a real life situation,
Yes.
and what cabinet chose to do
Yes.
was to defy the constitution.
No. What cabinet chose to do was to do what was in the best interest of the government farmers. That's what cabinet did. What is in the best interest of the government farmers was to give them those tractors to go and till the land, increase productivity, bring in the required foreign exchange so that you, Mr. Councillor, you can buy your wheat.